Morning, Mr. President. Morning, sir. How are you, Mr. President? How are you, sir? How is the campaign?
We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Martin Luther King, Jr. Towards violence-free polls is our bone of contention in this other half of the show, and I'm joined by political affairs analyst GBOLA OBA on Cold Digest this morning. Good morning, sir, and thank you for finding time to join us.
Good morning for the opportunity once again. I just wonder the irony. You bring in a Muslim boy to come and tell you how violence could be.
Come and tell us how you revolutionized Mushi.
Okay, maybe we should go in that direction.
It's all right. Let's just take some minutes to conclude the review of the papers. We're still with the Punch this morning. Surrender or face death. Chadian president wants a cow. We know his location, says Debbie. That's on page 2 of the Punch. I saw on CNN one day, amazingly, it's also amazing how the international community seemed to give credit to the ongoing onslaught against Boko Haram to other countries like Chad, Cameroon, and the likes. You see captions like Chad beats Boko Haram, or Chad, you know, helps Nigerian troop, and it goes on and on like that. Would it be good to take the shine away from men of the Nigerian military who are also doing quite well at this particular time?
The truth is that our boys are doing their best, their level best, more so when the political leadership and the leadership of the armed services that have kitted them up. Now we know that our boys can fight, and they fight, you know, gloriously, valiantly, and gallantly. And you know, most of the territory is taken by Boko Haram within the borders of Nigeria. Most of the territories have been gained back. Well, I'm one who have always said on this platform that our boys are not cowards. So, in so much as it is incumbent on us to celebrate our boys, to give them all the accolades necessary, it is also incumbent on us to be factual about the situation in the theater of war. The reality in the theater of war is that due to successive failures of administrations in Nigeria, due to the seeming state of helplessness that our valiant soldiers were left in, Nigeria that used to send its military personnel to go and help as far as Lebanon in the Middle East, to go and help keep peace in the Congo, to go and help keep peace in Liberia and Syria alone. We were reduced at a point to being helped by our immediate neighbors. Are they helping us? Yes, they are helping us. Can we discountenance the fact that they are also helping, using their resources, and also losing lives to fight the ragamuffins and the faith bastardizing SOBs, who call themselves Boko Haram? We cannot discountenance that. So they have to be celebrated. And it is on record that the Chadians, especially the Chadian soldiers, have been, because Chad has been in a state of war longer than Nigeria, the average Chadian soldier is seen to be a bit more combative, more war front assertive than an average Nigerian thing. So it does not take anything away from the fact that
it's all right.
So
I see where you're coming from, but
we cannot excuse away their gallantry too. We cannot excuse away their brotherliness, you know, to compact forces with us and fight and fight the Boko Haramists.
In addition to the local West African collaboration, a contingent of the British Army is also reported to be in Nigeria to build capacity of operational level officers on counterinsurgency. You recall that Nigeria had to end abruptly the help from America in that light. Do you see the same happening?
You don't want to talk about the help from America because a number of facts are yet to make the news round.
Okay.
The little, it's easy. Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians have in recent days or in recent times, a lot of Nigerians have been condemning America. I am one who is reticent to do that. Very reticent, because a number of reports I've read have indicated that the Americans may not have they may not have stood as heroically with us as we had envisaged, but the Americans too have also discovered that within the hierarchy of our military leadership and our political leadership, some very, very germane values of their society have been abused. Values such as taking care of your military. The first things the Americans said they discovered that made them stop the training of the Nigerian military personnel is that there were no basic equipment in place. To have if I want to train you to be literate, at least we have a biro to say this is A, write A, this is B, write B. But in the case where you don't have a paper, you don't have a biro, and I have the responsibility of training you to be literate. So I will say this is A, you will tell me this is A. Does that make you literate? So the Americans said they found that our armed services or our personnel to be trained were even denied some basic equipment or tools of the trade. Apart from that, and this is the most dangerous, the Americans also discovered that our intelligence infrastructure was so leaky, because we must be talking in past tense now, although very recent. They discovered that our intelligence infrastructure was so leaky to the extent that they said when they did a reconnaissance, when they did an aerial reconnaissance of where the Chibok girls were, and told people in the Nigerian authorities in so short a time, and they were convinced that somebody, fifth columnists within our military hierarchy must have intimated the Boko Haramis that the girls were dispersed. So, would you want to blame America for not putting American servicemen on the ground when they know that the integrity of your intelligence gathering to start with, and your ability to manage intelligence assets are not credible? They don't want to waste their own lives. So it's easy for an average Nigerian to sit here and say the Americans betrayed us. It has always been Russia that this thing, Look, every society has its own values. Every society, and those values are equal. Look, even in the case of the Nigerian Civil War, I hear some Igbo analysts talking about American betrayed us too during the Nigerian Civil War. America stood for a principle that America believed in that was consistent with what Igbos were this thing. The majority of the Igbos were mainly Catholics. The majority of the Igbos were and still are mainly Catholics. During the Nigerian Civil War, the federal government wanted America to sell Nigeria arms. America just had, in its almost 200 years of existence, America just had its first Catholic president. And the Catholic lobby was then, in ascendancy in America. And they leaned on the president and told the president, just like the Jews do now, they told the president, if you sell arms to the federal government of Nigeria, they will be using those arms to kill Catholics in Biafra. America refused to sell arms. What is wrong with us?
I understand.
It was about the same time that Brazil started their own this thing, their own armament manufacturing industry, that we started our own. Our own is manufacturing furniture, Ijoko. They are manufacturing furniture, and Brazil is now selling some of the most sophisticated arms in the world.
Just a minute. Let's get to the phone line and also feel the pulse of viewers on these issues. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm speaking from Ibadan.
What's the name, please?
From Ibadan.
Victor from Ibadan.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, can you speak louder than that? I can hardly hear you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, I want to commend Mr. GBOLA.
All right.
I want to commend Mr. GBOLA. I've seen him on TV this morning, and I'm very proud of him. He's one of the Nigerians, at least I can trust whatever he says. And on your program this morning, you bring on Mr. Adebo. I'm trying to reach you. Almost, I just want to contribute that the way people are doing things in this country, I can tell you we are not going anywhere. Particularly the ruling government, the way they are doing. On the issue of card reader, they have said it all. They have put the money. They are the one now say they don't want to use the card reader. They don't want this. They don't want that. I don't know why, but I know God will save us in this country, because the way the ruling government is doing, they are not helping the younger generation of this country. The way they are killing us with different stories, even including starting from the Mr. President to their spokesman to the party level. The way they are doing now, they are not giving us hope. But I know one day we will get there, so that we are going to pass all these order they are placing before Nigeria.
It's all right, Victor. Thank you very much for your contribution from Ibadan. Let's begin to localize all of these issues. And I think that there are very interesting facts you'll find on the front page of The Nation if you check this morning. Of course, the top story is APC accuses...
You have cornered it for yourself. You are not sharing.
Of course, I'll share it.
Typical Nigerian power holder. They always want everything.
I'm going to share it. It's going to come on the screen, you know, in a jiffy. The Nation newspaper, MCR. APC accuses PDP of plot to blackmail Jega Tinubu. How the plan to score 2 elections, and PDP, it's forced over. Now, look at some of the allegations, because this is exactly where we're going to. Number 1, transfer of huge cash into Jega's bank account, use of some political parties to push for postponement, use of security agencies to intimidate opposition leaders, illegal recruitment of over 500 cadets into security outfit, nocturnal meetings between PDP and security agencies, hiring of Israelis and Belgians to hack into INEC computers, efforts to compromise card reader, buying up of PVCs, arrest of opposition leaders, days to election, planting of illegal substances in opposition leaders' luggage. Earlier, I was speaking with Debo Adeniran, who was of the opinion that someone like Femi Fani-Kayode, that his facts could not be, that probably someone says something, at least you find 60% to be true. That for Kayode, you almost cannot find anything to be true. Just a minute, Bola. I'm getting there. Hold on now. I'm now asking, for all of these allegations, how do we also ensure, how do we prove that this is true, just like what Debo mentioned for Kayode?
I wanted it to be very balanced, because I tell you, it's difficult in the atmosphere of obnoxious propaganda that we have now. Very obnoxious, very, very air-polluting, mood bespoiling propaganda that we're having from the 2 main parties. And I mean the 2 main parties, PDP and APC. To be honest with you, I'm beginning to even be afraid that the kind of minds that we have in these 2 main parties, are we Nigerians safe? It's easy at this juncture to want to, hug and accept just about anything coming from the quarters of the APC. But you see, if you are a very sober human being, and you see the degree to which some minds in the APC strategy room, concoct some outrageous, outlandish, some of the things you've read. But you see, like Riley said too, Femi Fani-Kayode and Zeke in the PDP too, they will come out with some fantabulous ideas from nowhere, and you wonder, are these the kind of people who rule us? These are the kind of minds that we would have ordinarily have appreciated, bringing out, you know, life improving, life bettering policies for us. But I see those minds walking the catacomb or the darkness of life, bringing out some of these things. For me, Balaba, this is where I stand. Most of these things, they are just they are propaganda materials from the two sides. From the two sides.
Let's look at the role of law in all of this, because you also recall that certain groups came up to sue the APC presidential candidate for being responsible for the post-election violence that transpired in 2011. What impact do you think allegations like these will have on violence before, during, and after elections?
There are some people, I was telling some friends of mine yesterday, even people like us, we've been tempted in a number of ways, subtly and directly. You see, there are some people who have sold their consciences and they are ready to sell the future of their children in a prosperous Nigeria to locker. Just give me whatever you can give me now, and I will call anybody names, and I will help you spoil anything. I don't care if you know what Athon did. He went to a court that sat overnight in Abuja. Went to a court that sat overnight in Abuja, got a judgment upon which the Babangida government latched on to annul this thing. There are some minds like that. But it behoves the majority of Nigerians to sift those minds out. Don't let them cloak themselves. Don't let them cloak themselves in maybe the party you like now, or the swing of the mood that you like now, or the kind of electoral momentum that is going on now that you think you like. Look beyond the facade of what they are trying to sell. Make sure you are not tricked into a situation where the future of your children will be compromised. There are so many people out there with big titles, even some with NGOs, even some with big professional stature, lawyers and this thing, sons and whatever, who are basically, who are compromised and basically hell-bent on causing wala for us in Nigeria.
Let's take this call. Hello, can you turn down the volume of your TV set?
Okay, reduce it.
Okay, I'm waiting on you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Pius. I'm calling from Abuja.
All right, please go ahead with your contribution, Pius.
Please thank the gentleman for him. He has said his mind. In fact, what is happening in Nigeria today is very shameful thing. Most of us cannot even condone it. Why a party who is in power behaving childish as if they are the opposition? We are all asking for free and fair elections, even before now. Today, the body in charge, especially the gas, came out with a device and told the whole world that he wants to make it right, even for the first time. And the sitting party, the ruling party will come out and start sponsoring people here and there, telling everybody that they are not interested. It's a shame. It's a shameful. It's a disgrace to the ruling party and even the president himself. You see, it hurts my mind when a party, look at the caliber of people who are speaking for the party, that the fire say, what do you call him? He's in the court, he's challenging on a crime where in fact, it's very painful. Look at the sitting governor there. throwing all cylinder of insult to a general for that matter. Forget about the contestant. Is a general somebody who has ruled this country before. You want according to respect for him. Look at your coping. Look at those kind of people. It's an insult. The international community are watching. Look at what happened in London in the Richard House, or how did you call it? They sponsor some talk, some students to go and protest. Getting there, they could not even tell the world why they were doing that. In fact, Nigerians, we should be ashamed of ourselves. We should keep religion or party or tribe or whatsoever aside. It's a shame for Nigeria. The ruling party has failed Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Pius, for your contribution. You know, earlier I also talked about rule of law. In such a situation like this, I mean, are we operating in a system where anything goes? Because it looks as if there is no check and balance for most of these utterances.
Okay, let me do you a little treatise in politics that will show you the consistency in. We have a culture of poverty. And the poverty, I tell my friends, is not so much the poverty of the pocket, but the poverty of the mind and the poverty of the head. That is why somebody would ordinarily have the kind of amount that he could spend 4 times or 5 times his lifetime. If he spends another 50 years on the face of the earth and he's spending 10 million or 20 million naira every day, he will not exhaust that money, and yet that person is still stealing. That is number one. Number two is that because of the culture of poverty, I have lived in 3 main societies in my life. And in one, I partook in partisan politics. And I have not lived in America before. I've only visited once. But my brother, in the UK where I lived for almost 20 years, there is something that the press does that I have not seen it being done here. When a politician during electioneering campaigns comes out in the UK to say, I will buy uniform for all the students in my constituency, the press will say, okay, GBOLA says he will buy uniforms for all the students in his constituency. As at the last budget, his constituency had X amount. To buy uniform will cost X amount plus this, and he has forgotten to tell us how it will make the difference for this thing. In the UK where I partook in partisan politics, if you come out, like I hear some people now for the ruling party, and I want to be balanced, that's why I picked the claim or the destiny of the opposition first. In the ruling party, they will tell you, we have done Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, but you and I travel on Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. We know they have done some parts, less than 25%, and you still get into frustrated circumstances when you are applying that road. You said you have done Benin-Ore Road. Benin-Ore Road is smooth from Ore to Benin, but from Ijebu North to Okitipupa, you can be there for 8 hours. A journey that ordinarily should take you 1 hour. From Ijebu North to Okitipupa, you can be stuck. I was stuck going for a friend's mother's burial who came from the US. I was stuck between Benin, between Ijebu North and Okitipupa for 5.5 hours. I saw trailers tilting. I saw this thing. And yet, people have the temerity to go on national TV and be telling us they've done that road, that they've done this thing. And the opposition too will come and say, we will give food to every child in Nigeria. It is doable. I know it is doable. But when you are making that claim, I want you to back it with. But in some other respectable jurisdictions where journalists don't depend on politicians to live, they will show the inconsistency of your claim. And the reality on the ground, they will show it to you like this. We don't have that in Nigeria. Culture of poverty. The culture of poverty, the main topic you invited me for too, violence in politics, is a function of culture of poverty. When you have young men without marketable skills, the only thing they wake up to do is to discuss Arsenal and Man City. It will be easy for me. Look, I always tell people, If I want to be mischievous, it's easy for me to get to Mushi, even before putting down any money and tell Taju, look on that.
But would you say that poverty is the sole reason why youths are vulnerable?
Look, get an average Nigerian, a system that will make him acquire marketable skills, get them to be encouraged to become entrepreneurs or work for enterprises. You will discover that Nigerians. I've seen it before. I said I lived in Germany. I lived in United Kingdom. I've been to several countries where there are Nigerians, and you will see Nigerians are hard workers. Why don't they go into those places and be laying about and be loafing about and just be making themselves available for politicians to use as stocks?
Let's take this call, Bola. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I'm calling you from Benin. My name is OBA from Place.
It's been a while, Ogbeifon. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm calling you from Edo State. I want to thank Bola Oba.
All right.
I respect him so much. He's a man that sometimes when there is problem like this, if I see him there, I always want to call on. Yes, like he's saying, you discover that even the journalists we have in this country today, they are even the problem of this country. The journalists are the problem of this country we have today. Because the reason why I'm saying it, you can hear from Bola Obana what he's saying. And actually, these people will say they have worked on this road, but at the end of the day, nothing. You see, let me bring back to the issue of this so-called election stuff. You know, we talked about some time ago that the military will come in later in the day. And it looks as if it's a joking issue. I believe we begin to see the play up. Because look, when you hear even the opposition cry out, check why the opposition crying. There. When you hear the so-called ruling party, there is nothing there. Lose the election. They're not quite all right. As if election is shift to even 2020, they will still lose out. They know this. So the truth is that what are they going to do? And that is why they are doing all this. So I just pray that God should help us in this country. And we have lawyers. My painful part of it is that we have lawyers. Lawyers have sold their rights. Lawyers, I know. Lawyers in this country have sold their rights. And these cases are coming to the lawyers, and they are there answering stand. What rubbish? What kind of stand is that? They are not stand. What kind of stand is that? A case will come to you, and you will look to this case, and even be Obefu cannot judge that matter the way they will judge it. They will do this thing and feel that there is well with them. I pity for the country we are. God will help us. Thank you.
Amen.
Angry Ogbeifon online this morning. We have to bring all of this to a logical conclusion because given all of the insinuations and allegations, of course, you hear PDP saying, I'm going to sue you for libel, and all the other side, APC is saying the same thing. How do we ensure that the electorate or perhaps the average Nigerian at this time wouldn't subscribe to violence as we count down to this major election, even with this peculiar situation that we find ourselves?
We can only preach directly to the electors. For the politicians, let's be very honest with ourselves. When I started reading Nigeria's political history in the late 70s and the early 80s, I came to one conclusion. And that conclusion, and I tell my friends, it's easy for me to live on being a political analyst, being an NGO merchant, and I'm using my words carefully, being an NGO merchant and this thing. But I discovered that the politicians who made things happen behind the likes of Awolowo were the politicians who had industries that they were running. You know, Pariwane. It was even when Abacha came in, they wanted to block everything. They wanted to asphyxiate him. But the man was an entrepreneur. He was an entrepreneur that if you block everything he was doing in Nigeria, he still had sources of income abroad. When they wanted to get Papa this in Ikorodu to lie against Awolowo. He said no, because he knew that with enterprise. I hate to see any politician or anybody who claims to be political analyst or who claims to be an NGO who does not have something that is doing apart from those things. They are the major problem of this country. You know why? If a man lives by just talking politics alone, he's a dangerous character to have around you. That is for me. So the only people who will appeal to not make themselves available as cannon fodders, to be wasted, like they throw, like they throw akara. What do you call what are you saying? This bomb that they throw? If you don't want to be used, if you don't want to be used and wasted like that, it is you who will sift from the propaganda of the right and the left and cover and protect your head.
Let's take this last call on the show today. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning. Turn down the volume of your TV set. Yes, you are. Can you turn down the volume of your TV for me?
Okay. Yeah, this is Yinka from Ilori.
Yinka, turn down the volume of your television set.
Yeah, I have.
Please go ahead with your contribution. You have 1 minute.
Okay, yes. Okay, I'd like to first thank Mr. OBA for his very rich contribution.
Okay. Go
He has
ahead.
been doing a good human show there. You see, what we've learned over time is that the two political parties are very problematic to this nation. APC and PDP.
Well, I'm afraid that we'll have to check for another last caller on the show. And therefore that you turn down the volume of your TV set. We can't wait you listen to yourself and then because a lot of distraction and all of that. Let's wrap it all this way. Of course, with all of these counter accusations, Nigerians can see for themselves. You also made mention of the economic factor. Because we must also consider, you talked about Nigerians being poor and all of that. But what would you say?
It's the culture of poverty.
Of poverty,
there are so many men out there who are not rich, but they are contented. But a man who is rich but is not contented is as dangerous as the armed robber who comes to you in the middle of the night. It's all about contentment. You will never have all that you seek on the face of this earth. God didn't create it like that, and I have not been to any society that is so Eldoradoic, that is so Nevada-ish, that we have everything that you desire.
The anathema of it is that Nigeria is a very religious nation. Thousands and millions of religious followers. What role precisely can religious leaders play in all of this?
One of the greatest ironies of this society is that every corner you turn to, you either see a church or a mosque. But we don't have the fear of God in us, the majority of us. And the way we act to fellow human beings, the way we, the way we conduct ourselves, even within our family setting, to our wives, to our children, to our husbands, to our parents, we carry the white sepulchre of faith or religion, but our behavioral typeset is very this thing. So we really need, beyond talking to leaders of the faith, as individuals, we really need to reevaluate, our basic values, because we are throwing this country to the dogs because everybody thinks is clever than the next person. I tell myself always, Bola, whenever you think you are clever than the next person, that is the beginning of the incitement of war, because he also thinks he's clever than you. So cut the basics. Look straight into his eyes. This is what I want to achieve. What do you want to achieve? Let's see if we can reach a compromise, and at least that is what I try to do in business.
It's all right. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Bola is a political affairs analyst that joined us today on Call.
I always tell you to be saying Bola is an entrepreneur before you call political analyst. Political analyst is only loving that.
GBOLA also makes money doing as a fleet of multi-million naira business across Nigeria. You give me a job, I want to now. Thank you very much for watching today. Of course, we'll be back, God willing, tomorrow with another exciting edition of Call Digest. Stick around for the top of the hour news, and don't forget you can watch this show again at 12 midnight on Core TV News, channel 329 Star Times. And if you can't wake up at that time, all you need to do is log on to www.coretvnews.com and you'll be able to watch it again via YouTube. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thank you for being there.
Morning, Mr. President. Morning, sir. How are you, Mr. President? How are you, sir? How is the campaign?
We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Martin Luther King, Jr.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.